and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to do the Tunisian honeycomb stitch. So this is a supporting video for my Tunisian crochet honeycomb headband, which I show here as two samples. So in this video I'm not going to show you how to assemble the headband or how to make the appliques to go with the headband, but all this information will be in the pattern, which I'll add a link down below in the description box. So this video mainly focusing on how to create this beautiful stitch. I'm going to, however, tell you what yarn I've used and what hook I'm going to use. I'm also going to show you how to start, how to fasten off as well. So without further ado, we're just going to jump in to the honeycomb stitch. So for this tutorial, I'm going to use the same lilac yarn as I made this headband with. And for this headband and this yarn, I would use 5.5mm crochet hook. I just used a kind of straight Tunisian crochet hook. For this yarn, it is a cotton and acrylic blind, and it's slightly on the thicker side of DK weight. For Tunisian crochet, usually the recommendation is to sort of go up a hook size by 1 or 2 sizes compared to the recommended hook you should use on the ball band. Yeah, so for this one I experimented a few hook size and I think 5.5 looks really good. I'm just going to move this out of the scope so you can focus on what I'm doing here. So I'm going to make a small sample in this one. I'm just going to chain 10. So for this headband, you can customize the size, the width, the length. I have everything in the pattern, so please do give that a go if you would like to make a headband using this honeycomb stitch. But if you want to customize the size, the Tunisian honeycomb stitch requires an even number of chains. I have 8, 9, and 10. So for my personal preference, I like to twist my chain and insert my hook in this back bumps. I think that makes the finished piece look a lot neater. For this particular pattern, it doesn't really matter, but I think for Tunisian crochet in general, insert hook in the back bump will make you know, your life easier in the end when you do the kind of adding of borders, etc. So what you're going to do is you're going to insert a hook in the back bump, or however, wherever you want to insert your hook, and you're just going to yarn over and pull up a loop, and a loop stays there. This is the different part between the Tunisian crochet and the normal crochet. So you're collecting all these loops on your hook, as if you're doing knitting. Actually, it's very similar in that sense that you collect a bunch of loops on your hook before you get rid of them. So you just literally do that to the end of the chain. So this is called the forward pass. For any Tunisian crochet, it consists of a forward pass and a reverse pass or return pass. So I'm going to show you how to do that just in a minute once I finish this forward pass of my foundation row. For lots of Tunisian crochet projects, you're going to start a foundation row very much so like this, almost to the end. So I'm doing it very, very slowly, and hopefully this will be helpful for those of you who just started doing Tunisian crochet. So here's my 10. I should have 10 loops. Yeah, so for Tunisian crochet, you almost always having the same number of loops at the end of forward pass as your initial chain. So however chain you've made, you should always have the same number of loops on your hook. So to finish the first row, you're just going to do a return pass or reverse pass. To do that, you're going to yarn over and pull through one hoop. This is to form the edge, the kind of chain one at the edge to make sure your edge look neat. And for the rest of the loops, you're going to yarn over and pull through two. And you're going to repeat that all the way until you only have one loop on your hook. That's you finish one return pass. Okay, so I'm going to, here we go, that's the first, your foundation row is done. And so next we're going to start our honeycomb pattern. So this is a 2-row repeat, and you're going to alternate simple stitch and the purl stitch. I'm going to show you very slowly how to do each one of them, so hopefully by the end of the video you're going to feel very confident about doing it yourself. So the hoop on your hook, this one is already coming from the first vertical bar here, so we're going to skip that one. You're going to almost skip the first bar in all Tunisian crochet. Okay, so the first one we're going to start with simple stitch. To do that, you're just going to insert your hook in. You can see here this stitch, you got a front bar and you got a back bar. You're just going to insert your hook from right to left, or left to right if you're left-handed, but I highly recommend you watch a specific left-handed tutorial if that's applied to you. So you're just going to insert the hook kind of behind the front bar, and you're going to yarn over. Ooh, can't see it. And you're just going to pull through. That's a simple stitch. Simple, that's that. To do a purl stitch is very similar to knitting, if any one of you also knit, which means you're going to bring the working yarn in front of your hook before you do anything. So for the purl stitch, you have your working yarn here, and you're just going to insert the hook into next stitch as if you're doing simple stitch. But before you proceed, you're going to move the working yarn behind your hook again. I find it always easier to just pull it on the knot here so it doesn't move. It'll be easier for me to do my next step, which is just yarn over and then pull through that loop. So you can see the difference between a simple stitch and the purl stitch. Is a purl stitch have this a little horizontal bar in front of it, while the simple stitch is just a simple stitch. So the next one is going to be a simple, so you just do that. Okay, and we're going to have a purl stitch again, which you're going to move the working yarn in front of you, insert your hook, now move the working yarn behind again to form the vertical bar, yarn over, and here you have another purl stitch. And you're just going to carry this on till the end of this row. Okay, so just do it very, very slowly at the start, and once you get going and you get used to this the whole motions, it's going to get very easy in no time. So I'm almost to the end of the row. My last purl stitch. Okay, and for the edge, what to do is you're going to turn your work towards you, and you're going to see there's a little V on the side, and you're going to insert your hook behind both legs of that little V, and you're just going to yarn over, and that's forming the edge. To do the return pass, you're going to yarn over, pull through one, that's the chain one for the edge, and yarn over, pull through two, pull through two, all the way down until you have only one loop left. Oh, I got three here. So this happens sometimes. Well, for me, it's mainly because I'm kind of looking through the camera. If that happens, you just need to return the loop to where it were before you did the wrong stitch and redo it. Simple as that. So, yeah, here we go. So that's your first honeycomb stitch row. The second row, what you're going to do is you're going to do the purl stitch at the simple stitch from previous row and the simple at a purl stitch from previous row. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do so it will make more sense. And again, this one accounts for the first vertical bar, so we're going to skip that one. And if you remember, the first one we did was a simple stitch for the previous row, so we're going to do a purl stitch here. And again, you're going to move your working yarn in front, insert your hook, move it to the back, swing it back, and do a, oops, that's it, here we go. That's your first purl stitch. And then you go, this is, you can notice there's a horizontal bar here in front of your vertical bar, which means this was a purl stitch from previous round. So you just go and do a simple here, insert, yarn over, pull through, that's it, simple stitch. And the next one you can see is quite long compared to the next purl stitch. And for these long stitches, you know, you're going to do a purl now, and working yarn in front, insert the hook, and here we go, that's your purl stitch. The next simple, next is a purl. So you can see you have, once you have this kind of rhythm going, it's actually quite simple. Yeah, next we should do a simple, and next will be a purl. And the last one is a, sorry, not last one, last vertical bar. I did get a bit of yarn now, sadly. Here we go, that's the simple. Okay, for the edge again, you twist it towards you, and you can see there's two little V here. You're going to insert your hook behind both of the two little legs, yarn over and pull through. And then we're going to do the return pass again. So yarn over, pull through one for the edge, yarn over, pull through two, 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 all the way until you only have one loops on the hook. Here we go. So that's you finished your two row repeat of the honeycomb stitch. It doesn't look a lot now. We're just going to finish a few more rows and the pattern should look a lot better after that. So the next one is back to your first row repeat of the honeycomb stitch. So you're going to start with a simple. Simple stitch. The next one would be a purl stitch, and a and the purl stitch. Next, a simple, and a purl stitch. So yeah, definitely do that, so it'll be a lot easier. And a simple, and the last one, last vertical bar is a purl stitch. Now turn to the side, insert hook behind both. There you go. Now I turn pass. Look for the edge. And I'm just going to pull through two all the way along. To check how many rows you have done in Tunisian crochet, it's very, very easy. You just turn to the side, any side will do, and you just count how many of these little V stitches you've got. So now I know I have foundation chain, foundation row, and I did 3 rows in honeycomb stitch pattern. So I have 4 rows in total. To do the second repeat, so we're going to start with the purl stitch for the second row repeat of the honeycomb stitch. Right, that's 1 purl stitch, simple the purl, and purl the simple. That's all you need to know for the honeycomb stitch. Okay. Get some more yarn. Right. So we have simple the previous one, now we're going to purl the next one. Simple the next. Oh, I split my yarn bit previously, sadly. I think I'm going to go back and fix that off camera. I probably wouldn't do it now, it's just simple. So I'm going to twist again, find my little V in the edge, insert the hook behind both legs, and pull through. Now return pass, yarn over, pull through 1 and 2 all the way along the row. Right, so now you can see a couple of completely formed honeycomb. This is a really very, very pretty stitch, and for Tunisian crochet the benefits of this one as well is it's not curling almost at all. For Tunisian crochet, because it works heavily in the front of the stitch, it's notoriously curling if you do just simple stitch and some other stitches. But for honeycomb, because you balance between the simple and the purl stitch, and it's really flat, so that's really good benefits for the honeycomb stitch as well, apart from it's being very pretty. So I'm going to finish by showing you how to fasten off. You're just going to carry on the two row repeat as how many rows as you need. But for this tutorial, I'm going to conclude here by showing you how to fasten off. So for this particular pattern, I fasten off in pattern, which means I'm going to do exactly what I would do if I'm just doing a normal honeycomb roll, pattern roll, but instead, so we have done 2 complete repeats of the honeycomb stitch. So I'm back to my row 1 of the pattern repeat again. So to do that, I'm going to simple the first. Well, you skip the very first vertical bar as usual and you go into the second one, but it's your first bind you go into. So instead of carry on my next vertical bar, I'm just going to slip stitch like this, just exactly how would you do a slip stitch in normal crochet. And the next one, you can see I've done a simple stitch in previous row. So this row I'm going to do a purl stitch. So I'm going to do this, that just do normally as you would do any purl stitch, like that. And instead of carry on, you're just going to do a slip stitch, and you're just simply doing that for all the stitches along the row. And then you would have fastened off all the live stitches that you would have had here. Oops. Oh, I'm really struggling now. I don't appreciate how hard it is to do a stitch on camera before, and now I totally understand. Okay, if I can get this through. Hey, here we go. Yeah, and then carry on a slip stitch. And sometimes the purl stitch from previous row can get really small, and you might even wasn't sure where to go for next. But once you do a few rows and you're going to recognize it, no problem. Here we go. So this is called slip stitch band off. I mostly use the slip stitch band off for most of my Tunisian crochet piece. So for the edge, you're going to do the same, just as if you're going to do a normal edge stitch, but instead you're going to, lost it, you're just going to do that, and you can just properly fasten off after this. And here's my little sample, and yeah, you can just cut your yarn and fasten off. So quite often I would do another like a round of single crochet around the Tunisian crochet piece, just to make it look even neater on the edge. For Tunisian crochet, it's very nice because if you look around on the side, it's very clear where the stitch needs to go, so there's no guesswork. It's all around. That's why when the foundation row, if you kind of insert your hook in the back bump for the foundation row, is also very handy, because when you go at the border, it's very clear and it's all matching the top and the sides and the bottom. So it's really pretty and a very neat stitch. So I hope this tutorial helps you to master the honeycomb stitch. And if you do enjoy this tutorial, please give me a thumb up or subscribe to my channel, and it'll definitely encourage me to upload more of these kind of tutorials. And thank you very much. Happy crocheting. Bye.